Willkommen, mein Kameraden. This is Field Marshal Darkfireslide of Prussia. And today I'm going to talk about quality ideas. The best idea group in the game for your military. You take quality ideas when you want your army to be better than everyone else, like the Prussian army. To do this, you start by getting Private to Marshal, which will increase your infantry combat ability by 10%. This is a flat damage modifier and does not reduce incoming damage. Next, you will pick up the quality education. You must ensure that your troops are well educated as well as your officers, when this will increase your army tradition by +1, increasing it to a resting point of about 20 if you have no other modifiers. The next thing to do to make your army more like Prussia's is to pick up the finest of horses, because then your cavalry can overwhelm your opponents through quality. This will increase your cavalry combat by 10%. And next we have the corvettes for the Navy. Actually, my good friend, listen. This is Rear Admiral Darkfireslide for the country of Britain. Getting a little bit German there for a second, and I will speak about the naval ideas and quality if you don't mind. First of all, you pick up ship durability +5% from corvettes, which will improve the hit points of your ships effectively by 5%, as you might imagine. And this is quite useful for longer engagements in the sea, especially if you don't already have naval supremacy, such as our Prussian friend here. Next, you'll want to pick up the Naval Drill, which will improve the morale of your navies by 10%, and this is quite useful, as you might imagine, for the Navy as well as the Army, in the same principle that it allows your ships to fight for longer and inflict more morale damage. Lastly, you will pick up the copper bottoms for your ships, which will give you -25% naval attrition, and this is quite useful for when your navy has to make a maneuver around the sea, perhaps to ambush enemy ships, or to otherwise perform covert operations, or perhaps to go over to your colonies, perhaps. In any case, less attrition means your ships are taking less damage, which is always a good thing, if you care about the navy. Yeah, the navy is important and all that, but let us talk about the last idea of quality ideas, which is the Mast Battery, which will increase your artillery combat by 10%. This is extremely powerful in the late game when artillery has become the dominant form of dealing damage. Lastly, the final thing you will get for completing quality ideas is picking up 5% extra discipline, noted by a whip in your military tab. This is important, because your troops must have iron discipline in order to defeat the enemy. It is the ultimate way to get more quality out of your troops, because discipline not only improves their damage dealt by the modifier indicated, but also reduces damage effectively by that amount as well. It'll make your troops invincible, like real Prussia. Depending on how much you like policies, you may or may not be impressed or unimpressed with quality ideas. It is well known that some of the best policies are in this idea group, and so we will talk about them. First of all, you get the weapon quality standards when you take economic ideas, which will give you an additional 5% discipline, very useful for nations who need them. The next idea group you may consider combining with this is religious ideas for an extra 5% army or morale of armies. You may find this useful, or you may think it's not very good for a military point of a month. Next, you would look up the diplomatic ideas. This will give you an extra diplomatic reputation point and reduce envoy travel time. The diplomatic reputation in particular is quite useful, especially since it costs diplo points per month to maintain. The most famous of all the policies, however, has to be the innovative ideas, which will give you an additional 20% infantry combat ability, which is as much as what Prussians get anyway, but combined creates an overwhelming army and an indestructible force, generally speaking. Lastly, you may consider picking up trade ideas for an additional 20% trade efficiency. Since most of these are common idea groups, you may not find this to be too painful. On the other hand, you may need to plan around them, since the rest of the policies are garbage. A final note about the quality ideas. Quality ideas are the type of idea which compound when you take them, meaning if you already have bonuses which improves the quality of your troops, this will make them further invincible, making them necessary for nations such as Sweden and, of course, Prussia. That being said, picking up quality and innovative alone gives you a 30% bonus to infantry combat ability, which can give you a competitive edge in multiplayer. And in situations where you cannot increase the size of your army past your opponents, it may give you the necessary edge in order to win. As well, one thing to consider is the yearly army tradition from Quality Ideas. It will make it quite easy to get good generals in the late game, especially combined with defensive ideas or from the guaranteed pips from offensive. You may also consider taking aristocratic for reduced decay of your ideas, particularly if you took defensive as well. This is the reasons you should take Quality Ideas. It is quite powerful, especially if you want to be like Prussia and have your armies be indefeatable. I hope this video helped you understand the value of Quality Ideas and why you should take them. If you liked the video, be sure to leave a like and subscribe for more content in the future. Until then, Godspeed.